Hi everyone, this is Boomer for Caravel Gaming, and today we will be continuing with the expansion Revenge campaign, and this is going to be using Nissa Ravain's deck, which I haven't shown you yet, so let's show it to you. Here it is, very shortly, once it started loading, and here it is. It's elves, and lots of elves. We have Jiraga Wallcaller, which is a 1-1 with multi-kicker. It enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each time it's kicked. That's each time you pay 1 and a green. And other elf creatures you control get +1/+1 for each counter on it. So it's basically a big sort of grow your guys. Essence Warden is a green soul warden. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. Rancor I don't think we're going to use much of. It's a creature on creature matchup, so I don't think that rankers are going to be that great. What's Elvish Vanguard's doing? Another elf enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Elvish Vanguard. It makes itself bigger. 4 Well-Wishers, you gain 1 life for each elf on the battlefield by tapping it. An Azuri, which we are always going to need, I think. A Caller of the Claw, which again we're not up against a deck which has sweepers, so I think that that's fine getting rid of it. Imperious Perfect is a 3-mana 2/2 other elf creature you control get +1/+1, and 1 tap put a 1/1 green elf onto the battlefield, which is going to get +1/+1. So it's a 2/2 that spits out other 2/2s and makes your guys bigger. Then we have 4 Timberwatch elves, which target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of elves on the battlefield. It just makes your creatures pretty much impossible to deal with in combat. Immaculate Magistrate, tap, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature for each elf you control. It's just a way of making gigantic creatures. Heedless One is 4 mana for an XX with trample, and it has power and toughness equal to the number of elves on the battlefield. That includes your opponent. 4 Sylvan Messengers, which we saw in the last game, can whiff and can hit all 4 times. 4 mana for a 2/2 with trample. That makes you reveal the top 4 cards of your library and put all elves into your hand. A Voice of the Woods, which is a 5 mana 2/2, tap 5 untapped elves you control, put a 7/7 onto the battlefield. Seedborn Muse, which is untap all opponents you control during each other player's untap step. I've just left that in because it means that my opponent can't really attack profitably. Weatherseed Treefolk is fat and comes back to my hand constantly. Coat of Arms, well, it's an elf deck, and I think I have more synergy than my opponent, so I'm going to put Coat of Arms in the deck. And I have a couple of Enlarges which will bust my creatures through their battlements. But let's see what we've got that we can put in. Fauna Shaman for sure. It's something that we can definitely put in. It's Survival of the Fittest just as a 2/2. It's a bit annoying as a one-of, but I think that it's still a very good creature. Insist isn't really very good in this. It's only if you're against a counterspell deck. Guy's Herald is the same. Counterspell versus a counterspell deck only. Creatures can't be countered. Talara's Battalion, 2 mana for a 4/3 with trample, which sounds good, but then it says cast it only if you cast another green spell this turn, so it's going to cost at least 3. Caller, we've seen Groundbreaker, otherwise known as a green ball lightning. Not very good, really. The days when ball lightning was the beating that it used to be have kind of gone, and there are just too many ways of dealing with it. Beastmaster Ascension could be useful in this matchup, but to be honest, probably not that useful. More useful against control, probably. Genesis Wave, I think we can probably use this. Reveal the top X cards of your library. You may put any number of permanent cards with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield. Then put all cards revealed this way that weren't put into the battlefield onto your graveyard. I'm going to put that in. Primitive Etchings is slow card draw. It's not really ideal in this matchup. Ambush Commander makes all your forests into guys, is an elf, and sack an elf target creature gets +3/+3. Asceticism, creatures you control have hexproof and regenerate. That could possibly be coming in. Verdant Embrace turns all your guys into turns one of your guys essentially into a Verdant Force. It gives enchanted creatures +3/+3, and during upkeep put a sapling on the battlefield. Mythic Proportions, the creature has +8/+8 in trample. Biorhythm, each player's life total becomes the number of creatures he or she controls. Excellent against control, obviously, but not in this matchup. Slate of Ancestry, discard your hand, draw a card for each creature you control. Very possibly will be using that. Jump Arm Stride is the cycling +2/+2 we saw earlier. It's a little bit slow. Alpha Status makes the creature huge, essentially. Blanchwood Armor also makes a creature huge. Lead the Stampede, yeah, it's card draw. Again, not looking to cast that this turn. Taunting Elf is definitely something I'm thinking about playing because all creatures able to block it do so. And I think that in this matchup that could be very useful. Glade Cover Scout's a 1/1 with Hexproof. Copperhorn Scout untaps all creatures you control when it attacks itself. Spire Tracer can't be blocked except by creatures with flying. And just a couple of other random schmoes. So just for one card, I'm going to put the Slate just feels really slow in this matchup. Did I just put one Taunting Elf in and just see if I can get through with it? I think we'll try it. What we're essentially hoping here is that our opponent doesn't draw Imizawa's Jitte. If our opponent does draw the Jitte, then we're in all kinds of trouble. And we basically have to rely on our opponent not being able to use it properly, which could very easily be something that's true in this matchup. Okay, I'll keep this on. And on turn 1 I'm going to make my Essence Warden, so I'm going to be looking to go 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, inflate all my guys to enormous levels. Now he's going to have cards like Kitsune Blade Master, which are going to make my life an absolute misery, but you know, can't have everything. There's one card that's going to make me a little bit miserable, but really the creature's only a threat when they have, you know, Bushido isn't really something that's going to cause a massive threat, and especially with a Well-Wisher out, there's just no way that he can power through my guys without the help of some kind of busted equipment. Okay, attacks for 1 with his guy, not scary, skip blocking. Do I untap with a Well-Wisher? Yep, I do. He has a Moth Rider, flying 1/1 Bushido. Didn't really want to draw 2 land on the bounce there. But I've got my Timberwatch Elf, so I get to skip the attack again because otherwise I will end up getting my guy splattered by something with Bushido. And this is literally, we literally have a creature deck race here. And he has a Blade Master, which is about the worst thing he can have for me at this point. And I'll activate the Well-Wisher at end of turn and gain myself 3 life. That makes things a lot easier. I'll make Izuri. And I'll just attack with my Essence Warden. And I'll not bother pumping it with the Timberwatch Elf because the threat of the Timberwatch Elf is always going to be better than actually using it. I can always just overrun my guys and smash in next turn if I feel the need. Does he have a Jitte? No, he has a Glory of Warfare. As long as it's your turn, creature you control get +2/+0, and if it's not, they get +0/+2. Makes his guys fat for sure, but mine are still bigger. So he's probably going to only come in with his flyer. Oh wow, really? I don't think he knows what some of these cards do. block the Well-Wisher on that. And activate my Timberwatch Elf, making my Well-Wisher a 5. Oh, yeah. Oops, idiot. That was a stupid thing. I should have blocked with... Azuri. But I'll put a regen shield on the Well-Wisher just in case. Yeah, that was daft. I can't do maths. Let's just make Heedless 1. It's bigger than all his guys. And I will... I think just nip him for 1. Yeah, that was terrible for me. Just ignore me. Yep, and he takes 1. I'm still just petrified he's going to come up with some utterly horrible thing that I'm not going to be able to deal with. That isn't it. Does gain me another life. I doubt he attacks this turn. I think I've been forgetting to use my... Oh no. Right, so... Now let's do this properly. Block with the Kitsune Blade Master. And activate the Timberwatch Elf, targeting that. Just gives it +5/+5. And he gets a Battle Mad run in. And I get to gain 5 life, I think, at the end of this turn. Yep. Let's make Well-Wisher and put the land in play. Again, we're basically setting up for a lethal turn here. Let's attack with my 2 guys. And he blocks with the running, sure. Will make my guy bigger. You take 6 and lose one of your guys, and continue. Another Glory of Warfare, that's quite scary. So he's got 10 power in the... Actually, it's not scary at all because of the fact that I have Azuri and 2 Well-Wishers. And he attacks with his 5/1. So if I just... Is Bushido for each blocker, or is it... So it's only when it becomes blocked. It's not... yeah. It's been a while since I... It's been a while since I played with Bushido. So let's put regeneration shields on both of these guys, and let's activate this Well-Wisher before anything happens. And that should kill his guy. Both my guys survive. Bit of a weird attack from him, really. And he's on 12, and he's got 2 1/5s, which will be 6s. Right, so I can't quite kill him yet. So I just need to attack with my... usual two guys. Gonna have to block at some point. Yep, he realises he has to block there. He had to block because if he didn't, I would just use my Timberwatch elf and both his guys would die. I mean, he would die, but instead both of his guys die instead. And I'm feeling pretty good now. I think next turn we're going to be attacking for around about 3 million. Makes another Moth Rider. I think we've gotten a little bit lucky with what his draw's been like here, really. Mustn't forget to gain some life. 48. Oh well, let's make another elf. I think I was lethal this turn if I'd have just overrun there, but never mind. Yeah, if I'd have just overrun with Azuri, I would have been lethal there, never mind. I'm stretching this out for way longer than it has to be, but at least it allows me to show off some of the synergies in this deck. Show you like just how difficult that this sort of deck is to deal with. And again, if I'd have attacked with everything, I win. So I've missed on table wins twice here. But, you know, welcome to the fact there's very little that you can... welcome to the fact that there's very little that my opponent can do about it anyway. Make the world's biggest Soul Warden, I think. Yeah, makes a pretty decently sized Soul Warden. And despite my best efforts, I have taken down the Samurai. Which means I believe there is only one fight left. And that is the last fight against Balkru and the fully unlocked Lords of Darkness deck. So I suppose next time I should really be playing the good guys, shouldn't I? You guys are going to make me do this, aren't you? Okay, well, next time round we'll be up against Balkru. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I apologise for my attempts to not win the game there. And if you like this, please like, subscribe and comment. And this is Boomer for Caravel Gaming, and I'll see you next time.